Welcome you all in the series of special work related to the construction. Today we are going to study about the shoring, that is one of the component of the construction and one of the component of the special work. So as we discussed earlier in lecture 1 and lecture 2, that these are the different content in terms of special work which can be utilized for the different types of construction. So in 2 lecture we complete the timber rigging tranches. So now onwards we are discussing the second content, that is represented as the shoring and underpinning have the different condition relevant to the site. So we just discuss one by one. Okay, now first we just discussing about what is the meaning of shoring, how it is utilized for any of the construction work, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of the shoring. So the first we go with the definition. The definition of the shoring is represented like it is a one type of the construction, or at that construction it is called as a temporary, and that temporary structure or temporary construction is utilized for providing support of the temporary for any of the unsafe structure. So in general language, if I want to share the definition of the shoring, then the definition of shoring is like it is a one type of construction, or it is a temporary construction that can be utilized for providing support of any of the unsafe structure. Okay, so some of the students can be asked the question, sir, what are the different conditions of unsafe structure? So for example, if you have different types of supporting wall, you have unsafe building, you have unsafe structure, or trench. In trench only we use the different props, and that props is represented as the shoring. Why it is called as a shoring? Because it is also a temporary structure that can be utilized for the providing support. Okay, so the shoring is used when you have unhealthy condition of wall, unhealthy condition of the building, either structure or either trenches, and they can be collapsed, they can be in the danger condition, and they can be required of the repairing work or retrofitting work or restoration work or any other alteration work. Clear? So the second point is represented when you have to idea about any of the work, like you have to repairing of your building, or you have to repairing your structure, you need to alteration, you need to retrofitting, the structure is in collapse condition or in danger condition. So this is the different condition when we need to provide the temporary support for any of the condition, and during that condition the structure or that particular temporary structure is represented as the shoring. Clear? And the word shoring came from the word which is represented as a shore, and the shore, that means props, or what can we say, the different component. Clear? Now in most of the condition the shoring materials are represented with the help of timber or metal. Whenever you are going to utilize or use the shoring in terms of different props, you almost saw in terms of timber material or in terms of metal materials. Now the shoring is utilized in the 3 direction. Whenever we are fixing the props for any of the unsafe condition, at that time the shoring is utilized in the 3 direction, either vertical, either any of the angle, and either horizontal direction. Now sir, my next question is like, what are the different conditions when we use the shoring? So the answer is like, they can be used under the following situation. When your wall plug out, that means when you provide any of the entry or providing the particular support during the retrofittation work or during any maintenance work, or you need to pull out your wall. That means you need to remove your wall. So that condition. Next, when wall cracks due to unequal settlement of foundation, if your foundation unsettled and because of that some of the crack can be arise at your wall, at that time you need to repair it, and also you need to carry out the some of the work that can be fulfill your crack work. So that condition also utilize some of the temporary structure. Okay, and that temporary structure is represented as the shoring. When any of the adjustment structure need to pull down, suppose for example you have the structure like this and the another structure at here. So the condition, if you need to pull down this particular wall or the entire building, at that time I need to support this structure, and for the supporting of this structure I introduce a temporary structure. Okay, and that temporary structure is called as the shoring. Next, when you need to provide opening and to be made newly, or else you need to enlarge your wall. Okay, now for example, if you have this condition, you have a particular building and in this building you have only single entry or exit. So because of any of the reason you also providing any other entry or exit. So for example here you want to wish, then what happening, I just provide support to my entire wall, and after that only I utilize this type of work. Clear? So it is called as a reopening or the particular providing the newly entry or exit or opening, either or. You also want for the enlarge in the wall, that means I consider this it is not required, but what I do, I just enlarge my entry. So during that condition also I need to support that particular wall, and for the providing support I use the shoring. Clear? Now next, the shoring is used to support the beam, the floor in the building when we need to remove wall or column. Okay, again we take an example, like you have this type of structure. Here is the number of beam and here is a suppose column. For example, if you need to remove this column, for example, it is not possible, but for an example, then what happening, you also provide this wall, this beam, and this wall. So providing the support of these four component we also call a temporary structure. Okay, why it is temporary? Because it is not a fix with my permanent structure. It is like we just provide with the sum of time, then after we also remove it. So it is called as a temporary structure. Okay, and that temporary structure is called as a shoring. Now the next point is, in this situation, in which situation, in the above situation, the vertical support are used as a temporary replacement of your column or wall. So as we discussed earlier, that when we need to remove any of the column or any of the wall, at that time I provide the vertical support that can be supporting my beam or that can be supporting to my wall, and that vertical component is known as the temporary structure or temporary support, and again that temporary support is known as the shoring work. Now, so I think that's it for today's lecture. I hope you guys very well understand about the definition of shoring and what are the different conditions that can be utilized for the shoring. So from next lecture we just continue with the different types of shoring. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video.